In this example, I'm going to prepare and export a 4x4 dungeon tile model for printing on the Elegoo's Saturn II 8K. When the model first loads, it appears very small. That's because it's defined in units rather than real-world size. The advantage of this is that you can scale it to any size without complicated calculations. Just multiply desired size in millimeters by 100. For example, if you want each square on the tile to measure exactly 1 inch, or 25.4 millimeters, set the scale to 2540. For 1 1/8 inches, or 28 millimeters, set it to 2800. For 1 1/4 inches, or 32 millimeters, set it to 3200, and so on, depending on the scale you need. After scaling, the tile becomes quite large, but it still fits on the print bed. Positioning is important here. I always print models at an angle, never parallel to the build plate. Once I'm satisfied with the position and angles, I raise the model 5 millimeters above the plate and begin adding supports. I start with the heaviest ones, using a tip size of 0.5 millimeters. The very first supports are always the thickest. I really want to make sure they print correctly. In this corner, I place 3 supports, just in case 1 or 2 fail. Next, I switch to 0.4 millimeter tips and continue supporting the rest of the model. To quickly fill gaps, hold Shift and left-click at the last point where you want to support. The slicer will automatically fill the space in between with evenly distributed supports. I always make sure the tips touch the edges of the model, so those edges don't turn into islands. You can add more supports manually or adjust the spacing in the support settings. I usually add quite a lot because too few supports can cause warping from suction forces during printing. I repeat this process on every side of the model. For the bottom, there's a very handy method. Go to the Manual tab and click Start Support Projection. Then select the faces you want to support, they'll turn yellow. Click Preview Supports and adjust the numbers until you're happy with the density. For this piece, I used random placement. Once I have the basic supports in place, I move to the Islands tab. I set accuracy to normal and let the slicer automatically find unsupported islands. For these, I use a 0.3 millimeter tip and let the software place the supports. Then I switch accuracy to detailed and finish off the smaller islands. If the islands are especially delicate, you can use a 0.2 millimeter tip if your printer can handle it. After that, I double-check everything, adjust supports if needed, and add bracing by pressing the B key. I always print with a raft, but I reduce its scale to the minimum. Now it's time to export. I always enable anti-aliasing and sharpen details, and keep the gray offset set to 0. For the second part, a UV tools tutorial, you can check out my other 2 videos where I prepared a wall and a 6x6 tile.